In the quaint little town of Harmonyville, there lived a boy named Jake. Jake had an undeniable passion for music that filled his heart with joy. Whenever he was feeling blue, he would strum his guitar, and the melodies would lift him high into the clouds. But Jake had a secret. Despite his immense love for music, he was incredibly shy. So shy, in fact, that he never played his guitar in front of anyone else. Jake's guitar was his best friend. Its polished wooden body and strings felt like the keys to his soul. Every day after school, Jake would sneak into his room, close the door, and pour his heart into the music. The notes would dance around his room like tiny sparkles of joy. But as soon as he stepped outside, the sparkle would fade, and his guitar would remain silent by his side. One sunny morning, Harmonyville's annual music day was announced. The whole town was buzzing with excitement. The celebration was a special event where everyone could showcase their musical talents. This year, something extraordinary was planned, a talent show with a grand prize. Jake read about the event on a flyer, and his heart skipped a beat. He longed to participate, but felt a wave of doubt crash over him. What if I make a mistake? What if they don't like my music? He thought anxiously. He decided to tuck the flyer away in his pocket. However, Jake's best friend, Lily, had seen him play through his open window. Aware of his astounding musical abilities, she was determined to coax him onto the stage. Jake, you can't hide your talent forever, Lily exclaimed, bouncing with enthusiasm. Your music deserves to be heard by everyone. Jake hesitated, fidgeting with the straps of his guitar. But what if they laugh at me? He murmured. Lily took his hand, and with sparkling eyes said, Imagine how many people you could make smile. Music is meant to be shared, right? After a long pause, Jake finally nodded. With Lily by his side, he gathered the courage to sign up for the talent show. The day of the event arrived, and the town square was bustling with eager faces. As Jake's name was announced, he took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. The sun bathed him in its warm glow, and the crowd grew silent in anticipation. Jake closed his eyes and began playing his guitar, pouring every ounce of emotion into each note. Slowly, as the music enveloped him, his fears melted away. His fingers danced over the strings with such grace that the audience was spellbound. When he finished, the crowd erupted in applause, and Jake felt a wave of happiness he hadn't known before. His secret was no longer hidden, and the talent he once kept tucked away had blossomed brightly. Proud and beaming, Jake realized that playing his music not only made others happy, but brought him a new sunshine of his own. From that day on, he never hesitated to share his gift with the world. Jake was a shy boy who loved playing the guitar. He only ever played for himself at home, never thinking anyone would want to hear him play. I don't know if I'm ready, Jake muttered, fiddling with the strings of his guitar. Mia smiled brightly. Come on, Jake. Imagine everyone clapping for you. Plus, I'll be there cheering you on, front row. With Mia's encouragement and bright confidence inspiring him, Jake finally decided to take a leap of faith and enter the talent show. As the big day approached, Jake practiced tirelessly, pouring his heart into perfecting his favorite song. But as the day of the talent show arrived, doubts crawled back into Jake's mind like pesky little ants. What if I mess up? What if they don't like it? He worried. On the day of the show, the school auditorium buzzed with excitement. Jake peeked out from behind the curtain, noticing the rows of seats beginning to fill. His heart pounded like a drummer hitting the high notes at a rock concert. You're going to do great. Just play like you always do back home, Mia whispered reassuringly. When it was Jake's turn, he took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The spotlight beamed down, casting a warm glow around him. The crowd hushed, and in that silence, Jake found a surprising calmness. He strummed his guitar, starting with a soft melody that swirled through the room like a gentle breeze. Note by note, his confidence grew. As Jake strummed the final chord, the auditorium erupted into applause. Jake's face beamed brighter than the spotlight. Stepping off the stage, Mia ran up to him with excitement. "See, I told you everyone would love it." In that moment, Jake realized that sometimes a little encouragement and a chance to shine can make all the difference. He felt proud, not just for playing well, but for being brave enough to let others hear his music. And as for his friendship with Mia, it had grown stronger, proving that behind every good performer is a great friend. Jake, a young boy with a kind smile and sparkling eyes, always dreamed of playing the piano on stage. However, the thought of performing in front of a large audience made his hands tremble and his heart race. What if I make a mistake? Jake often worried to himself, but his love for music nudged him gently towards his dream. One day, Jake's music teacher, Mrs. Melody, announced a school concert. She warmly encouraged everyone to participate. "This is your chance to shine, Jake," she said, smiling. Although the idea excited him, Jake's fear of being judged held him back. Determined to overcome his fears, Jake decided to start small. He began by playing his favorite tune at home, where his family was his audience. "You are amazing, Jake," his little sister clapped with joy. Their words wrapped around him like a cozy blanket, making him feel brave. With each passing day, Jake practiced diligently, letting the melodious notes fill his room and his heart. Gradually, he dared to play in front of his cousins and their friends. "You're getting really good, Jake," his cousin Sam cheered. These little steps slowly fed his confidence, and his smile grew as wide as the ocean. Feeling brave, Jake signed up for the small concert at the local community center. It was not as grand as the school stage, but it was a step closer. As the day arrived, Jake felt the familiar fluttering in his stomach. "I can do this," he whispered to himself, repeating the words like a magical spell. When he stepped onto the stage, the fear still lingered, but it no longer had control. Instead, excitement and joy took over as his fingers danced gracefully over the keys. The music he loved filled the hall, enchanting everyone present. The applause he received at the end was like a song itself, a melody of cheers and claps that moved Jake to tears. He had faced his fear, note by note, and it felt wonderful. From that day forward, Jake knew that fear may visit, but it could never stop him from doing what he loved, and every performance was a new adventure waiting to unfold. Once upon a time, in a small, vibrant town, there lived a boy named Jake. Jake had a secret passion for playing the piano. Since he was little, the comforting melodies of the keys were like a magical whisper that always lifted his spirits. However, Jake was incredibly shy, and nobody outside his family really knew about his musical talent. One sunny afternoon, as Jake went to fetch the mail for his mother, he noticed a brightly colored flyer pinned to the community board. In big, bold letters, it read, "Annual Talent Show Night. Showcase your skills." Jake's heart skipped a beat. Could this be his chance to share his music with others? After contemplating silently in his room for days, he decided to sign up. His parents were thrilled. They knew how hard Jake had worked and saw the gentle strength in his music. Jake practiced diligently after school every day, losing himself in the rhythms and the notes till his fingers turned tired. Finally, the night of the talent show arrived. The stage was set with colorful lights, and laughter echoed from every corner of the school auditorium, where kids and families gathered in eager anticipation. Jake's name was called. As he stepped onto the stage, his heart thumped loudly in his chest, almost drowning out the roaring crowd. Standing in the spotlight, Jake took a deep breath and sat at the grand piano. His fingers hovered for a moment above the keys. Shaky and unsure, but as soon as the first note was played, a calm washed over him. The familiar song flowed like a river of sound, embracing him, and the world outside disappeared. Every note told a story, a silent narrative of his dreams. As the last note faded away, there was silence, and then suddenly, the auditorium erupted in cheers and applause. Jake blinked in surprise. He stood up and took a small bow, his cheeks flushing with joy and relief. For not only had he conquered his fear, but he had also shared a piece of his soul with those around him. Jake realized then that this was the beginning, the big moment that would go on to shape his future adventures in music. Once upon a time, in the bustling town of Harmonyville, there lived a young boy named Jake who had a magical talent. From the time he was very little, Jake could weave marvelous melodies from the strings of his guitar. The notes would dance through the air, bringing warmth to everyone's hearts. In Harmonyville, music was a cherished treasure, and Jake's tunes were jewels among them. Jake had a secret cave where he hid his guitar, strumming tunes only when he was completely alone. He feared that the townsfolk might not appreciate his music, so he kept it a secret for many years. One sunny afternoon, as Jake sat in the enchanted grove, playing his heart out, he was unexpectedly spotted by a group of students from the local school. They stood there, their eyes wide with wonder as Jake's lilting melody enveloped them like a comforting hug. Encouraged by their smiles, Jake decided to step out of the shadows and share his music with others. The school was planning its annual talent show, and the students couldn't stop talking about the magical boy they met in the woods. With newfound courage, Jake decided to sign up for the show. He carefully crafted a special song, pouring his heart and soul into every note. On the night of the talent show, the auditorium was abuzz with excitement. The lights dimmed, and Jake stepped onto the stage, his guitar gleaming under the spotlight. He began to play, and the audience fell silent, entranced by the heartfelt melody that seemed to come from a place of pure joy. As the last note faded, the auditorium erupted into applause. Jake bowed, his heart filled with happiness, as he realized every note he played united everyone in joy and harmony. After the show, many students came up to him, their voices bubbling with enthusiasm, telling Jake how much they loved his music. Jake realized his tunes had the power to bring people together and sprinkle happiness like stardust. His fear vanished like morning mist, and he continued to play his heartwarming music, spreading smiles throughout Harmonyville. From that day on, Jake was known as the town's musical hero, and his magical melodies could be heard drifting through the air, reminding everyone of the power of music.